Everybody knows that to get into competitive industries like consulting and finance, you need a referral into the company. And a lot of people do that through networking DMs, which is very valid. However, most people focus on completely the wrong thing because most people focus on what to say. They're like, oh, the perfect template, the perfect DM. But instead, what actually makes a difference is who's sending it and to who. And with that, it doesn't really matter what you say, and you can keep it super simple. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly that and how I was able to get dozens of coffee chats with this exact framework of focusing on the who, not the what. And so let's break it down. So what most people do is that they focus on the what. So they think about, the perfect template. They think about, you know, like should I send hi or dear? Like should I follow up? Follow up, follow up. All these things that are just unnecessary. But instead, what you should actually focus on is we'll go into a bit more detail on it, but largely, your profile and also recipient. These are huge. This is the way more important than these things because if you don't have these right, then this isn't going to make a difference at all. So let's break it down in more detail. So when I say focus on the who, not the what, that comes down to two things largely. So your profile and we'll call them target. The person you're trying to get into contact with. So when it comes down to your profile, what you really want is you want a clear, professional profile photo. Because like this is the first thing someone will see. If you pop up in their inbox with a message, they're going to see this. So if this is something like you with sunglasses on, it's really far away, zoomed out, looks really unprofessional, or it's like a really old graduation photo, then they're just not going to reply because it's just like this guy isn't serious. They don't take their career seriously, so why am I going to spend my time and take them seriously if they don't even take themselves seriously? And you wouldn't believe the amount of people that ask me for help because like I post a bit on LinkedIn and they're like, oh, how do I get more coffee chats? How do I get people to refer me? And their profile photos are ridiculous. So I'm like, you just fix that, and that'll like double your reply rate at least. So that's huge because that's just the first impression, really. And then also the headline. The headline's huge because this is the first few words that someone sees when you when you send them a message. They'll see this above your message next to your profile headline, next to your profile photo. So basically, make sure it's like clear, isn't super like there isn't any obvious grammar errors, there isn't anything like crazy or like goofy, like there's no like jokes or memes or anything unserious. Just keep it professional and really like communicate what it is you've done and probably why you're worth responding to as well, like some credibility in there as well. And I actually covered this in a super well. I covered all of this in a recent video I made. I made a recent video about your LinkedIn profile, so go check that out because I'll go in way. That's like a 20-minute video that goes into way more detail than I'll cover here. And then just these are the two. This is like the 80-20, right? This is like this is the 20% that will get 80% of the results. But then the other things, just make sure the rest of your profile's polished. And again, check out my recent video for that. That goes into loads of detail. But really just about, this is it. This is really the key parts. If you're going to do anything today, just fix this. And then that'll massively increase it because then it's a really good first impression. People are much more likely to reply. And so with that taken out of care, we can now look onto the target. So this is the who, but it's not who's sending it as in you, it's who's receiving it. So you want to make sure you're targeting the right people. Which means essentially people that you have some shared thing that you can mention early in the message to get their attention, and they'll be much more likely to reply. So, for example, that could be same school, could be the same sport, could be the same like location, so like hometown or something, or home region. Could be a language that you speak, or it could even just be an interest that they've put on their profile. And so we've got like what 5 different things here. One of them you're bound to have some connection with, and if you don't, then likely the companies that you're looking to network with employees at are going to have so many employees that you can largely just find someone that matches one of these, if not multiple. But again, if they have all 5, you don't need to mention all 5 because that just looks crazy. You can just mention the strongest one, maybe the one you have the most interest in, or maybe you could even send them a message in the original language. Like, think about that. Maybe you both natively speak Arabic, and make sure it is like a native language that they have like a really good proficiency in. Either it'll be native or full working, and then send them a message in that language because that's going to immediately stand out. Because most people we just ping off a message in English because that's the business, that's the language of business globally now. But if you can really stand out and use the native language, that's huge. And such a value add, especially if it's like Arabic, French, German, Mandarin, Spanish, these big languages that loads of people speak. But again, it's like quite unique, and so it's likely that someone might speak that, but also unlikely that they're getting loads of other DMs from people with the same thing. And so that's really what it's about. Finding people with a shared thing that you can then mention early. So then you then mention it early. Mention it early. And that'll get them to reply. That'll get them to reply. Check out the bicep. Not bad. Okay. And then that's the who. So this is the who, but the what is still important. And so we're going to cover that now. Again, the who is the 20% that gets 80% of the results. But if you want to completely smash it, then you want to make sure you're sending the right thing as well. And if you're sending something terrible, then that'll kill your replies, no matter how targeted you get. Okay. Now the what. I'm just going to kind of run these off because this is pretty straightforward. So a couple of things. Sure. What does that mean? Well, it means under 100. That's the wrong symbol, isn't it? Under 100 words. Because these people are super busy, they're not going to be reading massive essays. Most people just write a ChatGPT AI slop essay about who they are. No one cares about that. Keep it under 100 words. And then it's going to be to the point. So again, no like massive rambles. Just like really clear, like this is who I am. Or you don't even need to say that because they can see that in your headline if it's an optimized headline. Just to the point. So again, this kind of feeds into this one because if it's under 100 words, it's kind of hard to not be to the point. But again, it's just reinforcing like, got to be concise, really got to be concise. And then you've got to have a clear question. So likely you want reaching out to them to try and get a call. And so you're not just like sending them a statement and they're going to be like, cool, thanks for the statement. It's going to be trying to lead to something. So clear question. And really, you can read that, can't you? Yeah. But really, what's that's going to do is that it's going to make it immediately obvious what your message is about because you don't want them to have to try and think and reason and be like, I wonder what this guy's trying to say. Because when like you're texting, maybe a girl or a boy, and they're sending you mixed signals, and it's a bit confusing. You're like, what's this person trying to do? I don't understand. I'm a bit put off. I'm a bit concerned. I don't know what's going on. I'm a bit confused. We don't want to be confusing the people that we're DMing. We want to make it immediately clear this is what our intentions are, and if they like it, then that's cool. And if they don't, well, we're blasting off 25 a day, which we'll come on to later. So it doesn't matter. Clear question. So this could be something like, you could even ask them like a little question in the DMs, and then be like, we could get on a call to talk about. Like you could, yeah, I've done that before. You could be like, what's the answer to a specific thing that you could ask them about? At which point they could just give you a quick answer in the chat that wouldn't take like more than a couple sentences to answer. And they could then be like, well, that's great, let's get on a call and we could talk about it. Or you could just go for the clear, 15 mins, or you'd write out minutes in full this week to hear about your experience. And then this is crucial, in X, so in a specific thing, not just like, oh, let's just chat, hear about your experience, but it's in like a specific thing, whether it's something you're looking to get into, something you're thinking of moving, into from a previous thing, or something you're exploring. But you've got to have it clear, so it's clear that's what they know what you're asking about, and it's much more coherent. And follow up. So this is pretty standard, right? Got plenty of space. So you want to be following up. With this, you don't need to be crazy with it, but you can tend to just go like every 7 days. Because like, it's not like a business, you're not like a business development person. You're not trying to close a deal. So you don't need to be following up like every day, because that'd just be nuts. But every 7 days, you can just bring it back up to the top. Again, don't just like pester them with like, hey, just checking in. It's like, you could share an article, like maybe you'd be like, you just read something, you'd be like, oh, I just read this interesting article, and it reminded me of your background. I wondered if you've read it and what you think about it. It's like an article about some trade thing or whatever their profile's relevant to. Even if you haven't read it, you could just ping it to them. That's like that functions as a follow up, because then they're going to see the message, they might get back to you. So yeah, just really try and bring it back to the top of the inbox. Offer some more times to just chat, ask them how they've been, stuff like that. And then this is huge, just volume. People say, oh, I don't get any replies, and it's like, well, how many have you sent? And they say, oh, I've only sent like 10. I'm like, what, 10 today? 10 this week? 10 this month? And they're like, oh no, 10 ever. I'm like, yeah, duh, of course you're not going to get anywhere. Really, as many as you can before getting banned by LinkedIn, because they do get they're pretty on that in terms of like bots and stuff. But if you're doing it all manually, just with like a template, changing out the first name, which again is essential, for sure, change out do a first name. That's like bare minimum. So, like 20 a day is pretty fair. Again, you don't have to do this for your whole life, but if you're serious about getting into these companies, then the referrals do really help. And it doesn't take that long really, because if you can, again, with the who in the targeting, you can find alumni of your school on your school's LinkedIn page. You can look in the search bar for like a word. You could type in like a word like Arabic. So we look on this on the other when we did it before, but if they speak Arabic, then they likely have that on their profile. So you could just type in the search bar Arabic and then filter by people that go to a certain school and right? It's really, because if they see you speaking Arabic and they went to your school, like that's game. Again, really use the LinkedIn search bar, because you could just type in the interests and find them, and then you get just build a list, just like save that search, save the URL, because the URL contains the info of what that search is, and you can then come back to the search, run through the list, ping off the DMs. keep track of it. There we go. I quite like this whiteboard. I used to have one that had legs. I moved place. There we go. And so if you're still watching this video, you're likely an A player. You're very serious about your career. And that's perfect because I love those kind of people. But oftentimes they find it hard to get seen, like through the job boards and stuff. And so what we've actually found works really well is just sending a cold email direct to a decision maker. And I got 15 offers doing it myself. And I've also helped dozens of others do the same. So if that sounds interesting, like you're tired, just sat on a job board waiting to hear back, check out the link in the description. You can learn how it works. It's just a video. You can check it out. You don't have to do anything more than that. But if it does sound interesting after watching the video, you can book a call with me personally, and we can break down the strategy and go get your role. Because I know you're tired of sat on a job board, and we can get you off them. We can get you off them and get you roles.